Your car is spying on you right now, not in a conspiracy theory way. In a Mozilla did a full privacy audit and called cars the worst product category they've ever reviewed kind of way. Every time you unlock your door, adjust your mirror, brake a little too hard, it's logged. Some cars even track your face. And here's the part that should actually bother you. You don't own the software running your own vehicle. The manufacturer does. They can push an update overnight and quietly remove a feature you paid for. So somewhere out there, a guy in a driveway is turning a wrench on a car from 1987, and he is not doing that because he's stuck in the past. He's doing it because he found the loophole. Stick around, because the psychology behind this is way deeper than old things are cool. And by the end of this, you might realize you felt this exact same pull yourself. Okay, so let's actually get into it, because on the surface, this looks irrational. Old cars break down more. They don't have airbags rated for anything. They guzzle gas. By every rational metric, a 2024 Corolla beats a 1979 Cutlass in literally every category except one, and that one category is the whole reason this topic exists: control. There's a guy on a car forum, I'm not going to use his real name, who put it perfectly. He said new cars are basically a rolling surveillance van you signed a 5-year loan on. His old classic? You bought it, you own it, end of. No app required to unlock it. No monthly data plan reporting your location back to a corporate server. Just a key, a switch, an engine. And that phrase, you own it, end of, that's not really about the car. That's about a feeling a lot of people are quietly losing everywhere else in their life too. So here's where it stops being a car guy opinion and starts being actual psychology. There's a researcher named Routledge who's basically the leading voice on nostalgia. And his research found something people don't expect. Nostalgia isn't people being sad or stuck. It actually functions as a psychological resource. It gives people existential meaning. It reconnects them to who they were and to other people during moments they felt secure. Now layer on object relations theory. This goes back to a psychoanalyst named Winnicott, which basically says objects can become transitional. As kids, that's a blanket or a stuffed animal. As adults, it can be literally anything that soothes you and makes the world feel steady. A car you fully understand, that you can fix with your own 2 hands, that doesn't need Wi-Fi to start. That's not nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. That's your brain reaching for something predictable in a world that stopped being predictable. And there's a mechanical layer to this too. One Hacker News thread nailed it. Someone said the difference isn't that new cars are harder. It's that modern cars are full of black box computers you can't trace with a multimeter. While an old engine, you could stand next to it in the engine bay and understand every single part just by looking at it. That's not nostalgia, that's competence. And competence feels good. Competence is calming. Now here's where I want you to actually think about your own life for a second. Because this isn't only a car thing. Think about how many things you use every single day that you don't actually understand anymore. Your phone, your fridge, your TV that needs an update just to turn on. We are surrounded by machines we can't open, can't fix, and technically don't fully own. We just have a license to use them until the company decides otherwise. So when someone says, I just like the smell of an old engine and the sound the door makes when it shuts, what they're actually saying is, I miss understanding the things in my life. If that hit little different than you expected, drop a comment with one thing you own that you genuinely understand how it works. I bet it's shorter than you think. Now, and this is important, this isn't some Gen X versus Gen Z thing either. That's actually the twist here. There's real data showing Gen Z and Gen Alpha are getting into vintage cars in huge numbers. Not because they lived through that era, but through games like Forza and Gran Turismo. Kids who've never touched a carburetor are obsessing over 1960s muscle cars because those cars have a personality that a modern crossover just doesn't. So this isn't really about age. It's about a specific kind of person, someone who values ownership over convenience, who'd rather spend a Saturday covered in grease solving a real problem than spend that Saturday waiting on hold with customer support for a car that won't even tell them what's wrong with it. If you're the type who'd rather struggle through fixing something yourself than pay someone else to hand you the easy version, comment I get it, because that trait shows up in way more places in your life than just your garage. At the end of the day, the people who choose old cars over new ones aren't rejecting progress. They're rejecting the trade they were never actually asked to agree to. Give up understanding, give up ownership, give up control in exchange for convenience and a touch screen. And honestly, once you see that trade for what it is, you start noticing it everywhere, not just in the driveway. If this actually made you look at something you own a little differently, that's the whole point. Hit subscribe, because I'm breaking down the psychology behind stuff like this every week. And the next one might hit even closer to home than this one did.